His Excellency, George Weah, President of Liberia. Our board noted that His Excellency's victory as the African Political Leader of the Year 2023 is a testament to his contributions to promoting peace, African culture and development, youth and sports development, and advancing Africa's agenda globally. It is also a recognition of his critical role in the infrastructural and socio-economic development of his country as well as his people-friendly policies. He has continued to advocate for peace and free and fair elections in the ECOWAS sub-region, and this was demonstrated by a show of statesmanship and iconic posturing by accepting electoral loss and congratulating the winner. While he arguably had options as a sitting president, he chose the path of honor, peace, and the defense of democracy. His emergence reaffirms our position that he has remained one of the continent's leading light, as he had continued to demonstrate great faith in the African project, promoting African dignity and helping to change the negative narratives about the continent.
Before we become journalists today, we are citizens. If there is no way that our country is safe, we cannot practice in our respective professions. When we are at war, pastors will not be respected to go to church to preach. When we are at war, medical doctors will not be able to go to hospitals except on a coercion or sanitary condition. When we are at war, lawyers will not be able to go to practice. That's why when you see these things happening, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are working a profession, you got to step down and protect your country so that that country will provide an avenue for you to be the kind of person that you want to be. And that's where we are now. What happened yesterday was wrong. It's still wrong, and no matter what it is wrong. We are seeing things happening in this country, and people are now seeing it as being right because the Asa is there. And these are things that we got to be stand up to be a patriot. You have to stand first on the side of the law because the politicians will go away. The regime will pass away, but your country will stay. The law will stay. Your patriotism vow will continue to stay on. And these are things that we got to stand up for. It doesn't matter how people feel, what kind of side you want to be on. We just got to speak to the truth, and that is very much important.
I see in the next few months a noisy country, a very noisy country, a rowdy country, a heavily divided country, a very tough economy, a sense of elitism for those who are coming at the hem of authority. The coming in of the Unity Party is going to multiply the economic woes, the economic conundrum, the economic quagmire, the suffering of the Liberian people is going to multiply. We are not prophets of doom, but the reality will come.
Mr. President, recently we witnessed the demolition of the CDC headquarters in Konokia, which was carried out through a court order. How does the administration ensure that such enforcement action are done fairly and without political interference?
The law is the law. It's not the government. It's the government implementation of the law. The police were ordered to do it. They did it. And that demolition is removal of the people from premises that don't belong to them according to the law.
Why will George Weah, who is tempted by Joseph Boakai, who was drowning in his Egypt land, who was dead, very red up, dirty, sting, you can find him passing around, practically dead and useless. Where will such a man come up? When you are vexed that you will stop and walk and then lose God's own mission to take you to the promised land. That was the test of time today for George Weah. If George Weah had reacted, you are falling in the place of Moses.
The Liberia National Police commenced the Congress for Democratic Change for the discipline, calm, and statesmanship demonstrated during the recent eviction process. The respect for the rule of law, despite the deep sentimental value and history attached to the property, reflects a maturity that strengthens Liberia's democracy. This movement is not only a testament to CDC's leadership, but also a reminder to all political institutions and citizens that our democracy grows stronger when lawful decisions are honored peacefully.
Today, you have a rebel police director who thinks that he has arrived And the worst thing about all these people, they all benefited from the magnanimity of George Weah. Ranging from people on the bench of the Supreme Court, they got letters from George Weah. If some of them choose to pay him back with evil, it's up to them. The very Gregory Comer today, you want in the previous administration when Weah came, he also got another letter again. If he chooses to do what he's doing, it's up to him. But one thing I can tell you for sure is this is how we have always been molded. That's how God has always molded Weah and catapulted him into success. You will suffer rejection, denigration, humiliation. That has been his life. How can you make somebody who has been down the line that shame? The person has gone through shame. They have gone through disgrace. They have done everything they can. Whatever people thought and were laughing at them, they surmount everything and catapult themselves into becoming someone who is towering that the whole world can look at today. How more can you do? You think you're bringing that person down? You're just hurting yourself. In fact, what you are doing, you are destroying yourself. You know what it takes for you to proud yourself of being bad? When people are looking for good image, you are happy in becoming a bad person. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. He would never ever.
There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. But I can tell you, this is a bad example.
George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. George Weah would never ever buy in to your tricks. He would never ever.
There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. There's nothing this president cannot do to make sure that George Weah is out of the way so the United Party can continue to maintain the presidency. But I can tell you, this is a bad example.
Before we could become journalists today, we are citizens. If there is no way that our country is safe, we cannot practice in our respective professions. When we are at war, pastors will not be respected to go to church to preach. When we are at war, medical doctors will not be able to go to hospitals except under coercion or certain condition. When we are at war, lawyers will not be able to go to court to practice. That's why when you see these things happening, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are working in a profession, you got to step down and protect your country so that country will provide an avenue for you to be the kind of person that you want to be. And that's where we are now. What happened yesterday was wrong. It's still wrong. And no matter what it is wrong. We are seeing things happening in this country, and people are now seeing it as being right because their star is there. And these are things that we got to be stand up. To be a patriot, you have to stand first on the side of the law, because the politicians will go away. The regime will pass away. but your country will stay. The Lord will stay. Your patriotism vow will continue to stay on. And these are things that we got to stand up for. It doesn't matter how people feel, what kind of side you want to be on. We just got to speak to the truth, and that is very much important.
His Excellency, George Weah, President of Liberia. Our board noted that His Excellency's victory as the African Political Leader of the Year 2023 is a testament to his contributions to promoting peace, African culture and development, youth and sports development, and advancing Africa's agenda globally. It is also a recognition of his critical role in the infrastructural and socio-economic development of his country as well as his people-friendly policies. He has continued to advocate for peace and free and fair elections in the ECOWAS sub-region, and this was demonstrated by a show of statesmanship and iconic posturing by accepting electoral loss and congratulating the winner. While he arguably had options as a sitting president, he chose the path of honor, peace, and the defense of democracy. His emergence reaffirms our position that he has remained one of the continent's leading light, as he had continued to demonstrate great faith in the African project, promoting African dignity and helping to change the negative narratives about the continent.
Good afternoon. Thank you that you join us. We go real, as always, on Real Talk Kings 88.5 on this 27th day of January 2025. 26. Yes, 26. It is 26. Yesterday, 26, 27. 27. Yesterday was the Sunday, so it was the 26th. Yesterday was the Sunday, 26th. The sunny day it was yesterday. Good afternoon. Yeah, it's another day, the 27th day of January 2025, the reign of Judah Christopher. I'm Sam Andrews, as always, Sam Andrews. Grateful we are to God Almighty. We acknowledge Him first. We are instructed by Him to start nothing without acknowledging Him. He must be acknowledged first before we get started, because He has the final say. The final say, He orders our steps. We are grateful. We bless His holy name for everything that He has done for us institutionally and individually. We are grateful that He kept watch over us, and He's still keeping watch over us institutionally, Kings 88.5, and every individual member in their individual selves. We are grateful to God Almighty. And thank you all for coming on too. You are good. If you not, you wouldn't be on. You are good, that's what you're on. So I need not ask you. Good to see all of you, great people. It is the 27th day of January 2026. 2026 gradually going to an end. Let's acknowledge few of you as quickly as we can. The protocol so very long, flowing like river going down a long hill. Joseph Brown, USA, New York. Jeff Commentaire, District 16. Richard Cooper, Test Street Sinker. Emmanuel Davids, Tusafil, Gatnersville. William Derry Wool, spokesperson, Civil Rights Movement, Caldwell. Mark Ritchie Willem, Royal Always Van, D3, Melvin Jolo, Moravia, Emmanuel Goe, Japan Freeway Community, Malu Fofana, 20th Street Sinker, Sharon Bonin, Bapin Paul Lee, Johnsonville, Soli Boba, Staunton Island, New York, USA, Stanley Sharif, Broadway City, Ruth Bine, Phoenix, Arizona, USA, Augustine Munsa, George Johnson Douala, Nathan Page, yes, Henry Tito, Caldwell, your residents, Claudia Addison, Delaware, USA, Gamonte McIntosh, Oluro, J-Town, Ansu Famula, New York, David Williams, Colorado, USA, Saturday Woodaway, USA, Atlanta, Georgia, Paris Lover, New York City, Walker Zodua, Mecklin Street, Waterside, Jeremiah Labla, Soul Clinic, Gaza, William Hoff, Minnesota, USA. Our prayers are with you people on that side. It's not easy. The world is just raising into something else. Coleman Johnson, I Am Factory, J. Henry Nathan, Fender Campos, Jukonti Chie, Jumon Colley, that's Pine, what? Italy, Florentina, good. All of you great people. Okay. Rita Christine Yates, Massachusetts, USA. My dear sister, Orita Sunday Choir, good that you on. Good to see you. Good that you are faring well. God is with all of you people on that side. No crisis lasts forever. Every crisis has an end. The Bible says, count it all in due. In the fullness of time, he shall deliver. The chairman himself, the one and only chairman, you know, the melting pot chairman, the chairman that is making inroad in his communities, the diehard sedition, the diehard Jowian, Roma Rico, Latupan, or Kennebor, Forshot, chairman, Block 13 Intellectual Center. Good to have you on. Welcome, all of you great people. We are in the second day, the second from the first day. Yesterday was a sunny day. Yeah, a sunny day it was yesterday. A sunny day. It was a good day yesterday. It was a sunny day. Good people. So excited by you people's presence. It is because of you people that we do all of the, the running around, packaging, analyzing, get ready. We think of you people every day. Every day we think of you people. Yeah, and we ask God to lead you people in whatever your endeavor, protectively and prosperity. Let's start with developments unfolding out of Liberia, then we get to events here. Zimbabwe's annual inflation rate has dropped to single digits for the first time since 1997. According to the country's statistics agency, inflation slowed to 4.1% in January from 15% in December. The country, which has struggled with currency stability, recorded one of the world's highest inflations in 2008, reaching 89.76 trillion. 6 trillion. Have you heard that word before? 6 trillion %. Economists have attributed the recent stability to the introduction of the gold-backed Zimbabwe gold currency and tight monetary policies. A group of officers in Nigeria are set to face military court after being accused of plotting to overthrow the government of President Bola Tinubu last year. 16 officers were arrested last October after what were described as acts of indiscipline and breaches of service regulations. At the same time, the military dismissed rumors of an attempted coup But following an investigation, the authorities have acknowledged that some of the 16 will go before a military judicial panel. Nigeria has a complex history of military involvement in politics with multiple coups between 1966 and 1993, which has made allegations of coup plotting highly sensitive. It is not clear how many of the 16 will go on trial, but the military authorities said the process will ensure accountability and uphold the principles of fairness and due process. The United States military is ramping up material deliveries and expanding intelligence sharing with Nigeria as both countries intensify efforts against Islamic State-linked militants. AFRICOM Deputy Commander Lieutenant General John Brennan said Washington is working to speed up foreign military sales, provide advanced equipment, and deliver the whole gamut of intel sharing, including intelligence flights to support Nigerian-led airstrikes. This follows U.S. airstrikes on Christmas Day that targeted ISIS-linked targets in northwest Nigeria and forms part of a broader American push for a more aggressive approach against extremist groups across Africa. And former FIFA president Sepp Blatter is urging football fans to boycott the 2026 World Cup in the United States, citing concerns over security and immigration enforcement. His remark follows recent death of 2 Americans in Minnesota during a crackdown on immigration, leading to widespread protests across the state. Blatter now joins a list of international soccer figures calling into question the stability of the United States as a host country just months before the kickoff. And nobody will ever think that everything going to be perfect in the United States. No. Why it is true that we want nothing of any disaster to occur, but no land, no government is absolute. Not joining those who have been calling for people to boycott, to stay away, to watch the games on TV. You are more involved, fully engaged when you are present, when you can see the players physically apart from the screen, when you can see the pitch apart from the screen. It's so not only engaging, but it is so refreshing, so humorous. So it's just everything uniqueness of a good life. But you don't want that getting mixed up with something of a disaster. The coincidence, I do not want to say that the coincidence is unique, meaning it's happening just before the World Cup can start in June. But we just need to trust the United States government and hope that nothing happens, because you have thousands, millions of fans traveling from all around the world to trooping in to the United States to watch their country play. Also, the safety of the players and just everybody. The United States government will have to work overtime if they will want to deliver a clean slate of 2026 World Cup. They will have to work 24 hours. Yes. But that culture, I just like the irony of that culture. They tell you human rights, they press other countries, human rights, but Look at their culture. That's why God said, if you think speck is in your brother's eye, you want him to take it or check yours. All right, let's get to some of the developments unfolding here. Then we are out for today. Thank you again for coming on. I appreciate all of you. You are so massive, so extraordinary, so great. George Weah will win the 2029 elections. George Weah will win it. This is no prophecy. No. This is the political, one of the political indicators. George Weah is the favorite on the heels or just a few months away of till 2029. One of the advantages he has is he uniquely conducts himself in a manner representative of a mature politician. If you ask me to single out a name that represents all of the characteristics of a politician, I will hand to you George Weah. Now, you will think that I'm being sentimental, but you want to look at the major political players in the political space of our country. You want to put their words, their conduct on the table, as well as George Weah. You will single out George Weah as being distinct and exquisite. I told you what the definition is of politician in this country by some people, if not many. If you can shout, scream, lie, badmouth people, say all manner of things, or put up empty challenge, you just lousy. If you can run from one radio station to another, if you can write a line to get the online media running with you this way, Sam Andrews writes, John Josiah writes. If you can get the online media that way running with your right out, then they consider you a politician. But if you know the core characteristics of a politician, you'll see a wider difference between George Weah and these people. Moreover, George Weah have had a unique life of publicity that he didn't attract, but put out his substance, unleash his potential, and the world focus on him. He didn't create any content as people are creating today to get people's attention on them, do some funny things, some awful things, but he unleashed his potential. A person who unleashes his potential does not look for attention, does not fight to become a celebrity, but rather the world focuses on that person because the world sees what the person is putting out, the gift of the person. That's what Martin Luther King meant when he said, even if he builds his house in the wood, W-O-O-D, the world will make a beating path through his door to get him out and get him to unleash his potential. The world isn't attracted to you because you talk loud or you lie on people or you say you just move from here and there. The world gets attracted to you when you can unleash your potential. You have that publicity automatically. So we have had that for years. He's not looking for publicity in his country. He is a global character, a person who is known universally all over the world. He is grounded in his own country. We no disrespect, but we don't have the media here that we are experienced in his days. We don't. No disrespect again, please, all of us in the space. So that's why I'm using the word we intentionally. Yeah. We have professional and institutional shortcomings. We don't go beyond. No, we don't go beyond. We only send out what we receive. We live with a strong, aggressive, progressive, consistent, witty media throughout. So he doesn't need publicity in his country. The people who have not reached the echelon are the ones who are fighting to claim the celebrity ladder. So every little thing about their life, they will call online media people, they will call the radio station, they will call this newspaper to write about them. We don't need it. Where is that unique character in himself that he popularizes others? Nobody can popularize Weah. He popularizes others. I'm saying this against the backdrop of what came out over the passing of the former vice president and political leader of the former ruling National Patriotic Party of Liberia, Joel Howard Taylor. The Minister of Information took to state radio instead of focusing principally and primarily on his boss, President Joseph Yuma Boakai, address. Before the address, said that former President George Weah wasn't or is not the empathizing character, that he didn't show up to empathize and sympathize over the passing of his vice president, Joel Howard Taylor's son. Now, listen. Liberian politicians, if you mind them, you will look like a comedian in the eyes of the other people. You're not a clown, but they will put that clown instinct in you, and you will look like a clown in the eyes of others. Ironically, they claim to be educated, to know everything, that they can correct people and people can correct them. They will tell us as journalists, you must always make sure that you have a balanced story. Don't run with one-sided story. Check your story to make sure you have the other side. If you are not aware, you don't go on a state radio and say that the former president did not go to empathize and sympathize with his vice president, Joel Howard Taylor, over the passing of his son. When you are not aware, instead of doing a validation, educated people do validation, meaning when you are privy or you have an information that is private information, it means that you don't take it as absolute, as 100% true until you can do your own background check. Why would a minister of information not check and sit on state radio and say that former President George Weah did not go to sympathize? Now, another thing I want you to get here, These are the people who will tell you when you're reacting to some things, they say, don't put politics in it. Don't put politics in it. Here is a man, a government official, a man who claims to be educated, literate enough, will sit on a state radio and politicize death, meaning he put politics inside. Say George Weah never went to sympathize with the woman. I have never seen anybody in Unity Party government so obsessed with the name George Weah than the Minister of Information. Bouakai himself, who is the president, is not obsessed with that name. The rest of the Unity Party officials, they aren't obsessed with that name. Only the Minister of Information, he hardly talks without mentioning George Weah. And he has to be careful so that he doesn't be talking about George Weah until he falls off. Because I have seen that with people, the world is a witness. You just take one person and put that person in your mind, just talking about that person. Everywhere you go, you're talking about that person. And then the vice president, Joe Howard Taylor, came out to provide him a simple literary education. A simple thing that he should have done. The woman came out to say, what you people have is wrong. We cannot live like this in this country. It is not everything that you put politics in. Because Joseph Heman Boakai is unpopular in his own country, fighting for publicity, look what they did. They went to the woman house when Boakai went there. They carried that whole thing live. Showing everywhere in the woman compound, Boakai going this way, the woman coming, everything was live. As if it was a program, a merit-making program, which was unprofessional. A person of such nature, and the president goes there, everything is behind the scene, is beyond the scene. It is not the publicity that protects the president. It is the security. The security guys are the ones who protect the president. So problem, you people, they were afraid, oh, Joe Howard Taylor, the woman this, the one died, something was happening in Boakai. So you try to carry life so the people see everything. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That was wrong. It was political. Now, the Minister of Information didn't see that as wrong. The other people didn't see that as wrong. Others went there. There were no live coverage. They went and met with the woman. They expressed their condolences, and that was it. Between you and George Weah, who acted so dull? You carried live to the woman place, which was wrong. It was unprofessional. You can't do that. It's just like somebody passing from the president, and then the opposition members then go there, they carry the cameramen or the cameraman, they screening every area. You think the guys were allowed in? Now, what you don't want people to do to you, you don't do it to them. So here is it. The woman came out to provide a simple, or let me say it this way. She explained to them what George Weah's nature is by his action. That's why I told you George Weah is not fighting for publicity. George Weah is not freak for publicity. No, the name George Weah is publicity in itself. The character George Weah. George Weah is not fighting for any recognition. Nothing, absolutely. The people who want recognition are the ones that you see every little thing. They call online media people. They call journalists here and there. They call print media because they want attention. Listen to what the woman said. She said, as I woke up this morning with tears in my eyes, my heart is filled with gratitude for the overwhelming outpouring of love and compassion shown to my family and Maine following the passing of my beloved son, Charles Nelson Philip Taylor, who left us just a little over a week ago. Even now, it feels unreal that he is gone at such a young age. Yet, in the midst of our sorrow, we lift our voices in thanksgiving to Yahweh, our Maker and King, for the precious gift of the 42 years we were blessed to share with Charles Philip. Listen carefully. Listen. I wish to sincerely thank former President George Manneh Weah and officials of the CDC who came to visit me on Tuesday. Immediately upon hearing of Charles's passing. I wish to sincerely thank former President George Manneh Weah and officials of the CDC who came to visit me on Tuesday immediately upon hearing of Charles's passing. I also extend heartfelt appreciation to President Joseph Yuma Boakai, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the Honorable Speaker, the Pro Tem, and members of all three branches of government who have continued to console my family and me during this most painful period. Last, but certainly not the least, I am deeply thankful for the visits and prayers from church leaders, musicians, classmates, organizations, and compassionate citizens from all walks of life who have come to express their sympathy and stand with us. Your presence has brought us comfort during this time of deep grief. Thank you all sincerely. The schedule for the interment will be shared shortly. You see this country we're in? That's why I started by saying George Weah returns. George Weah will win. Listen, George Weah does not need anything extra. He only needs to conduct himself as the way he's conducting it, avoiding confusion, not getting into the trap, as AB said, all those things. That's all. The thing here right now is just to win the people over. Majority of the people, 80% of the people, they have resolved. The rest of the ones that are coming, a year from now, there will be 18, 22, 25, 30, 31, 40. All those ones who did not have the right to vote 2023, in the space of no time, the world, that group, we will win them over. I'm not talking about the ones that who are already over by their thinking. You want to keep politics out of it. You think you'll be damning of George Weah, but you're presenting yourself as a clown, and then the people see this man as the good man that you think he is a bad man. And I cannot tell you how many people believe. Today, people still believe that George Weah did not go to sympathize. People were saying, can you imagine the man own former vice president, the woman's son passed, the man go there? That the kind of man you say you won't bring back 2029. You know why people were saying that? As much as they entitled to their opinion, we can be dismissive of it. But to say they brought the clown, the fool of themselves, because George Weah did not call the media, call online people to say, I'm going there. Just look at it. If you are an observant of this country, look at it. Wia is not the publicity freak type. Moreover, there is nothing there to gain any political attention or political relevance from, or political capital. It's bereavement, it's death. So why is he going there to call attention? So everybody says, George Weah went there. George Weah went to Joy Howard Taylor. Oh, the president went there. George Weah don't need to tell anybody. He don't need anybody to be discussing that. He owes it to nobody but his former vice president and a human being in Joy Howard Taylor, and the loss of his son. I say it this way because I think that began, I think he was just around the same age as we are sons. So that we are Sunday. Now, is it something that we are going to take publicity for, get recognition? Then the media will be reporting. Former President George Weah went to sympathize with Joy Howard Taylor. Just as they were running it, President Bouakai went to sympathize. Oh, you see, the president went there. The president issue over George Weah. Bouakai can issue over George Weah. Bouakai can issue more than George Weah. Yeah, the woman, yeah. George Weah, the woman was admitting that George Weah was the first, the very moment George Weah heard that Joy Howard Taylor's son passed, he went there. And you know George Weah is human. You know that one. Nobody can spoil George Weah's name. Look at all of the bereavement that people had that George Weah knew connected to see how George Weah went there to sympathize. No publicity whatsoever, nothing, quietly. When you put camera on George Weah, that means you already there, he went there. George Weah will not call anybody. You will not call anybody. You will not even tell Kalasco can film this thing. You will not do it because it does not require anything of publicity. That's what a mature person is. Knows the situation. It is not about him. It is not to take any political point from there because there is no politics in it, but it is about humanity. It's about hurt. It's about sorrow, grief. And then comforting the person, just as God said to every believer, comfort one another. You're listening to the woman again. The United Party people and even some seditious believe because they want to see George Weah going there. They say, oh, the Papa went there. The Papa went there. People start asking, oh, but George Weah, former vice president, moreover, a reputable woman in this country, a big woman in Liberian parlance, mean a big person by status, or some pass, then people will not, George Weah will not go there. People that ain't even close to George Weah, ain't even close. That means he know them, but the connection not very close. Pass up, people pass up from there. The George Weah goes there to empathize with them. Then what do you think about his vice president? Listen to the woman. She said, I wish to sincerely thank former President George Manning Weah and officials of the CDC who came to visit me on Tuesday immediately. Underline the word immediately. That's the key word. Immediately upon hearing of Charles's passing. Immediately. That means, George say, let's sleep on the one in the morning, we'll go to the mall. Or we're going to the place, when we come back, then we'll go there. No. Every other thing he had to do, pause, stop to it, and move there. She acknowledged everybody. But the first person that went to her, that's the person she named, George Weah, and followed by CDC people. It is not everything that you do in life. In this country, we have to drop this instinct of attracting attention. It doesn't make you any difference of a person. It only brings the clowns, the fool, the publicity that you want. You will get it, but it doesn't show maturity. Not at all. I sincerely thank former President George Manneh Weah and officials of the CDC who came to visit me on Tuesday immediately upon hearing of Charles's passing. That will take me into the President's State of the Nation address, but I'm not focusing on that principally much, but the reactions, the Citizens Movement for Change gave theirs, the Liberian Alternative People's Party gave their critique of the President's State of the Nation address. Alexander Cummings gave his critique. Not long, the Congress for Democratic Change, is presently giving its critique, and I should bring you excerpt of that. Let's join them, then we can move on to the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day and other opposition political parties. Then we are out. Their reaction is very key for you to know. Let's get to the Congress for Democratic Change. Let's join the party's chairman, Janga Cole.
Rulings, in many instances, including on workers that have been illegally removed from government services since 2024. A judiciary that is celebrated in speeches but undermined in practice cannot stabilize the period. Select international investments. I'll repeat that phrase. A judiciary that is celebrated only in speeches like Arizona, but undermine our democracy. And we must condemn judicial interference in the abuse of the rule of law and the weaponization of the justice system in all form and manner. We move to a critical situation that affects the country, which is a new national emergency, illicit drugs, and social decay. The blood today faces a deepening crisis of illicit drugs, especially among young people. Communities are overwhelmed by drug users, addiction, and the violence and social breakdown that follow. Yet, beyond announcements, President Buhari's government has not delivered a comprehensive, funded nationwide anti-drug response that combines enforcement, prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. A nation battling gang rape, sodomy, police brutality, economic hardship, looting, abuse of migrant women, visa cancellation, fake yellow machine, and mass corruption cannot afford half measures on drugs. The failure to confront this crisis decisively is another broken promise of the rescue government. I will reread this paragraph because it's very critical. Abroad today faces a deepening crisis of illicit drugs, especially among young people. Communities are overwhelmed by drug abuse, addiction, and violence and social breakdown that follow. Yet, beyond announcements, President Bakai's government has not delivered a comprehensive, funded nationwide anti-drug response that combines enforcement, prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. A nation that is battling gang rape, sodomy, police brutality, economic hardship, looting, abuse of market women, visa cancellation on the biggest scale ever, fake yellow machines, and mass corruption cannot afford half measures on drugs. The failure to confront this crisis decisively is a broken promise of the fuel rescue regime. We move to another component of the national discourse, which is national reconciliation, because the Baka government has demonstrated zero intent for national reconciliation. As the government continues to fuel and support division in the country. After a heavily contested election in 2023, in which the Unity Party alliance won narrowly within the margin of error, with less than 20,000 votes, any reasonable person who easily think that the national reconciliation and unification will be the pursuit of the Baka government. It looks easily more revealing given the age of President Baka as one of the oldest elected president of Liberia and his pronounced 40 years of government experience. But regrettably, the Baka government chose the opposite path and relentlessly executing anti-reconciliatory and divisive government style, with President Bakai personally leading the charge. A country that emerged from 14 years of civil crisis has seen 4 rounds of election. I saw the 2023 elections narrowly separating the winner and the loser, which is within the clear margin of error of less than 1%. It was the anticipation of Liberians as well as international observers that the current Unity Party government under President Baka will take the path of genuine national reconciliation. But to the contrary, the government has pursued anti-reconciliation practices and is embarking on a systematic campaign of political intimidation, weaponization of the justice systems, and in the President Sona, he elaborated on the successful burial of President William Albert Tolbert and President Doe. But the Unity Party government, the president failed to visit the National Unification Monument that was constructed in honor of President Tolbert, President Doe, and all others who were victims of the Liberian civil crisis that started from 1980 at the PAP Unification Park. This government has now acknowledged that fundamental cornerstone that was planted by President George Weah as a sign of national reconciliation. The National Unification Monument at PSP has never been acknowledged in the last 2 years, even though the government pretends to be forging national reconciliation, a national unification monument that is placed at the execution start of former government officials, now being acknowledged as a powerful symbol of national reconciliation. This is a clear sign of lip service to national reconciliation, because national reconciliation should have started at the PHP unification site, where we have a national monument for those who lost their lives in the tragic political history of our country from 1990 all the way to 2003. Besides these official reburials, less than 2 years ago, the national days have passed and not a single national reconciliation or unification event have been here inviting the immediate past president of the country, His Excellency George Manuel Weah, and other critical opposition leaders to discuss the path of reconciliation and national healing after a heavily contested and divided elections. Instead, for the past 2 years, President Barker has prioritized denying the former president executive privilege such as the usage of the Arara VIP terminal, pursuing and demolishing the former headquarters of the CDC under the guise of a court enforcement, selectively and politically prosecuting former government officials of the Weah government under the guise of fighting corruption, and illegally dismissing more than 2,000 civil servants and several technical officials of the Weah administration under the guise of payroll cleanup and enforcement of code of conduct. Contrary to President Barker and the reconciliatory and division style of leadership, which are celebrated and perpetrated by his rescue officials and supporters, former President Weah sought and implemented reconciliation. Former President Weah sought and implemented reconciliatory governance measures that included regular visitation and support to then former Vice President Joseph Barker when he was former VP and political leader of the Opposition Unity Party. Organization of Reconciliation Summit and dialogue with the opposition community within 1 year of his leadership, which was there at the Bella Casa Hotel, a hotel owned by 10 chairmen of the Opposition Unity Party. A strong statement of President Weah was reconciliation style of government. In every step was taken to ensure that national reconciliation was consolidated under the CDC government. In the name of genuine reconciliation, the CDC challenges President Barker to take concrete measures in promoting national unity and peaceful coexistence. This challenge includes President Barker instead taking steps which eventually will be followed by his officials, voters. A very important precondition to sustainable political stability and economic growth. I will repeat that because it's very important. In the name of genuine reconciliation, the CDC challenges President Joseph Barker to take concrete steps in promoting national unity and peaceful coexistence. This challenge includes President Barker himself taking steps which will eventually be followed by his officials and supporters. A very important precondition for political stability and economic growth. As we conclude this report to the sonar of lies and deception, we want to remain unequivocal, and the CDC remains unbending, and the CDC remains unwavering, and the CDC remains ever ready to confront the Unity Party. And this we will do in a form and manner continue to expose the severe deficits of this government. A government that takes pride in the demolition of the headquarters of its major opposition. Clearly, we saw all of these attacks and provocation as an attempt to derail the peace of the country and to continue to label the CDC as wanting to make trouble. But clearly today, Liberians and international partners have come to realize that the real troublemakers in Liberia reside in the Unity Party Rescue Government. Thank you. As they continue to target peaceful citizens who are in the employ of government agencies. And we want to assure citizens that are in the employ of government, thousands of you, today, you will realize the difference. And you have realized the difference between a CDC government and a party government. Because the freedoms you enjoy under the CDC government have been clearly eroded by
Congress for Democratic Change position being read by CDC or the party's chairman, Janga Cole. Sorry for that disruption. Let's get back to him.
Many of them have today lost their jobs. But we can assure you that the CDC will take power, will retake power democratically in the country. And we want to be very clear, because we have been hearing, there have been rumors circulating, some of our members have been calling us, oh, the Unity Party government, they have been saying they have the capacity to cheat, to steal the election, blah, 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 blah. We want to unequivocally assure our partisans and the Liberian people at large that there's no one in the Unity Party that have the capacity to steal the 2029 election. And so we want to assure you that we defeated the Unity Party landslide in 2017. We will defeat the Unity Party landslide in 2029. We want to, in closing and in conclusion, because the rumors, our partisans, Liberians have been calling that there are elements in the corridors of government, in the corridors of the Unity Party, saying, oh, the president will cheat. We want to unequivocally assure you that there's nobody in the Unity Party government, in the Unity Party, that has the capacity to steal the 2029 election.
Jenga Ko, Congress for Democratic Change chairman, giving the party's critique of President Joseph Yeman Boakai State of the Nation address. We will bring you more of that. The opposition across the opposition community. The Solidarity and Trust for a New Day did give its critique, and let's share a couple of lines with you. Tomorrow we'll look at the other opposition political parties. It's good for us in opposition. They don't have the means, the media to highlight, so we will do that for them as we strive for opposition synergy or unity. We will do everything we can to get the message out. We are the messenger, the opposition messengers, and we'll get the message out. Wherever they have shortcomings, we'll come in and help. Let's focus on STEM. Tomorrow we'll look at two other reactions we had on yesterday. The opposition, Liberia Alternative People's Party, giving their critique of the State of the Nation address. We listened to Monsability, we listened to Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, we listened to ANC political leader Alexander Cummings. Before coming on the air, all of those things are being compiled, and then we will bring them bit by bit. Let's focus on Solidarity and Trust for a New Day critique. One of Liberia's leading civil rights and accountability institutions, reviewing President Boakai 2026 State of the Nation address, saying that it finds it to be carefully packed with performance, heavy on numbers, promises, projections, yet dangerously hollow of variable outcomes, lived realities, and accountability. It said, behind the polished language and rehearsed optimism lies a familiar and troubling pattern. Recycled plans dressed as progress, inflicted claims presented as facts, selective statistics offered without content, and a governance style that treats future intentions as if they were present achievements. What the president delivered was not a report card of governance, but a political script designed to distract a sovereign nation. This is a State of the Nation. This is not a State of the Nation address. It is a state of nonsense. Throughout the address, the president repeatedly invoked the rule of law and impartial justice, as though saying the voice alone could make them real. But Liberia today remains a country where justice binds toward power and punishment is reserved for the powerless. No North government official has been convicted for grand corruption. Claims of indictments and convictions are thrown at public without names, without crimes, without recover assets, and without accountability. The Capital Arson case is referenced selectively, while politically connected perpetrators remain protected by silence. In this Liberia, laws exist on paper, but enforcement is optional for the elite. What is advertised as a reform is, in practice, propaganda. The legislative agenda presented to the nation reads more like a wish list than a record of achievement. Institutions such as a Civil Service Commission, a land court, a National Road Authority, and universal health insurance are paraded as flagship accomplishments, yet none of them exist in reality. Nearly 3 years into this administration, the government is still campaigning inside governance, promising reforms instead of delivering services to millions of Liberians crushed by daily hardship. Repeated intentions in a state of the nation does not constitute progress. It confirms failure. On the economy, the president hid behind large numbers while avoiding the simple question any struggling Liberian will ask. If the economy is stable, why are the people poorer, hungrier, and more desperate? A $1.2 billion budget means nothing when inflation eats wages, unemployment haunts households, and the Liberian dollar remains under constant pressure. Public debt has ballooned to $1.8 billion with no credible debt reduction strategy, only repayment announcements that appear designed to benefit elites and their corporate allies. The announcement of value-added tax by 2027 without any social protection framework signals a dangerous willingness to tax poverty while shielding privilege. Perhaps the most offensive falsehood in the address is the claim that 70,000 jobs have been created. There is no job registry, no sectorial breakdown, no wage data, no independent verification. This claim exists only in the president's speech. Liberian youth are not deceived. The evidence of mass unemployment is written on the streets, in the ghettos, and in daily struggle to survive. The president's claims without reduced cost of living insult public intelligence. Food prices remain high, transportation costs are rising, and rent, school fees, and healthcare continue to suffocate families. In the same breath, the president warns businesses against price increases while pursuing policies that fuel inflation. This is not economic management, but hypocrisy elevated to governance. Infrastructure figures are repeated with confidence, yet credibility is absent. Many so-called completed roads are laterite, seasonal, or already deteriorating. Maintenance claims collapsed every rainy season when communities are cut off and roads become rivers. The highly advertised yellow machines remain unaccounted for, unedited, unaudited, and surrounded by credible reports that parts of the first consignment are being returned to the country of origin amid misunderstanding. What is presented as development is increasingly resembles deception. On energy, the president offered PowerPoint instead of power. Liberia remains among the lowest electricity access countries in Africa. Blockouts are routine. Tariff reductions mean nothing when most households remain unconnected. Electricity in Liberia continues to come and go like signal lights. An everyday humiliation completely ignored in the address. Mega projects, the 250 megawatt gas plant and the 200 megawatt solar plant exist only on paper, with no financing closure and no timelines. Agriculture, repeatedly invoked as a success, remains a trap in dependency. Despite claims of supporting nearly 200,000 farmers, Liberia still imports most of its rice, has no national food surplus, and suffers from weak and uneven mechanization. Hunger persists in rural villages and urban slums, like mocking officials' declarations of food security. Social protection is reduced to numbers without dignity. Cash transfers reach only a fraction of those in need. There is no transparency about targeting, duration, and impact. Youth drug abuse continues to spiral into a national emergency, not a success story. A government that celebrates minimal relief while ignoring widespread despair has lost moral balance. On land and decentralization, the contradictions deepen. The government acknowledges land grabs, then claims they are resolved. Moratoriums are lifted while disputes rage on. Forced evictions continue. Elite land acquisitions expand. Power and resources remain centralized in Monrovia, while decentralization is praised in speeches. Foreign policy achievements are presented as triumphs, yet they remain symbolic. Liberia's election to the United Nations Security Council may flatter the political class, but it does not feed families, create jobs, or fix hospitals. Foreign prestige cannot substitute for domestic failure. Reconciliation is reduced to ceremonies and apologies, while justice is denied. Reburials are conducted, speeches are delivered, but accountability is absent. Officials accused of rape and abuse are shielded, while ordinary citizens are jailed for stealing bread to survive. Lastly, the War and Economic Crimes Court remains trapped at the draft law stage. Victims receive words, not justice. Reconciliation without justice is nothing more than state-sanctioned amnesia. A State of the Nation address is meant to report performance, not manufacture illusions. President Joseph Boakai's 2026 address rely on future promises instead of present results, aggregated numbers without human impact, laws proposed instead of laws enforced, and international applause. Why citizens suffer. In sum, that's the conclusion. This address was not a reflection of Liberia's reality. It was a political performance detached from the pain of the people. Until truth replaces theater, accountability replaces excuses, and delivery replaces deception, Liberia has not heard a State of the Nation address. Find peace, find critique by the civil society organization, Solidarity and Trust for a New Day. Permit me to inject or bring out one or two lines from the president's address, and then that will be doing it. Again, we can talk without mentioning the notable absence, which doesn't suggest anything, reconciliation. When you have noticeable absence from the State of the Nation address, you have the former president, the leading opposition figure absent. It doesn't show anything of the president's words, reconciliation, unity. The president may have his definition for reconciliation and unity. His people may have theirs. But what we know generally, reconciliation is putting everything aside, ridding oneself, everything, purging oneself of everything, and coming together. That's what reconciliation is. If you have another definition, well, this is the definition from God told me. That's what reconciliation. Anything short of that, you have not reconciled. So the absence of former President George Weah still speaks to the government unrelenting resolve not to have the former president anywhere around them. It tells you of one party state. So the president is not credentialed enough to talk about reconciliation, unity, because he is the practically pathological, vindictive character when it comes to that. Take it or leave it. Do you know? Did you follow Bouaka carefully when he came to this place about reconciliation? And he said, he paused for a while. Many had thought he was going to say that going forward, I take initiative, the reconciliation, on this reconciliation, on that, we're going to do this, we're going to move that, we're going to reach out to this opposition person, we're going to reach out to that opposition person. Instead, he said something just in passing that was very flimsy. That was very flimsy. But he reignited. He told his justice minister and the rest of the people that he wants those guys in jail because they have indicted them, convicted them as the people who burned the Capitol building. When he said, we are painfully reminded again of last year's arson attack on the Capitol building. This attack on our symbol of democracy has forced us for the second year to meet in this country, this court year, instead of the historic building. So yeah, take it or leave it. The president got this wrong. This is a blatant lie. It is not because the place got burned that they met outside or had the program outside. We had series of programs outside that Capitol. In fact, where was he inaugurated? He was inaugurated right outside the ground when the place got burned. So the people misled him. Listen to him. We are painfully reminded again of last year's arson attack on the Capitol building. This attack on our symbol of democracy has forced us for the second year to meet in this court year instead of the historic chamber. Where was he inaugurated? He was inaugurated in a court year. Right there. He only delivered his first State of the Nation address inside there. And beyond there, that was the problem. So that is a lie. Then here is the instruction or the reinforced political instruction to his people that he wants people to go to jail. He said, the legal process to bring those responsible for this heinous act is still ongoing. I, however, assure every Liberian that my administration is pursuing this matter with resolve and impartiality, and that anyone found guilty will bear the full weight of the law. I use this time to remind those driven by narrow personal interests that this country is moving forward, not backward. Then he said, our democracy will not be intimidated. Our institutions will not be diminished. Our commitment to the rule of law and constitutional governance remains unshaken, and the progress we continue to make will not be thwarted. Just words. Honestly, President Bouaka, these lines, in my opinion, were just flimsy lines. Just so, yeah, he will sound as the president, or he sounded as a president, but nothing. The president and the Unity Party is the practical, pathological culprit of the rule of law, breaking the rule of law. No regard whatsoever. You just listen to the civil society organization Peace. Listen to his own man, Alexander Cummings. Listen to the other people Who in this country don't know that the rule of law now, or the law, is protective of Unity Party people and against the rest of the people? Everybody knows, the international community. So Bouaka, sorry to say, but he was just standing over there and talking and making fun of himself. They just took him as another puppet on yesterday. That's what happened yesterday. All of those things. For God in heaven's sake, man, let's be true to our president. We've heard State of the Nation address. All of the presidents in this country, their State of the Nation address or addresses weren't perfect. They had some ups and downs. They had some failures. They had other things. Then people critique. People could point to things that they talk about. People will question some things, but then they saw our president talking all of these things. The people just put all those things together and say, "Mama, go talk." That's how you treat a puppet. That's how you see a person. No disrespect, but they have to treat President Bouaka right. You know very well, are you breaking all of the law? Look at what happened. What kind of president, for God in heaven's sake, would sit down, stand before the entire world, would never ever mention anything of the unprecedented level of rape in this country, the frequency of rape, sodomizing, and the rest of the thing? Because his people are involved, so he avoided that. They intentionally avoided mentioning anything like that because of the guilt. Then you say democracy will not be intimidated. Institutions will not be diminished. Oh, come on, democracy is under threat. Under Bouaka, democracy is under threat. What democracy is? You think democracy is only you allow people to talk? You sat down. You brought men outside, armed men of all kinds. You said that people should not protest in their own country. The key, one of the key components, key tenets of democracy is giving the people the right to express themselves. That's what the Constitution says: freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of association. You said no, it would never happen. You will bring armed men of all kinds. Nobody can see their faces, yet the country going to war. And then you say democracy is strengthening. Democracy isn't strengthening on a Unity Party. Democracy is dead. Democracy is dead. Nobody expresses themselves good. Look what happened to Frank Safogo. Frank Safogo was on the air. That Uganda atmosphere, that's what we saw this morning. You're on the air and armed men going to the radio station. It is not democracy when rights of people are stifled. It is not democracy when people cannot assemble freely. It is not democracy when people live in intimidatory atmosphere. It is not democracy. It is purely Uganda style. You're listening to him again. Our democracy will not be intimidated. Our institutions will not be diminished. Our commitment to the rule of law and constitutional governance remains unshaken. No, it is shaking, Chief. It is shaking. You have to look at it. But anyway, you have to say something. Then that reconciliation, it is the reconciliation aspect in that address. They say he spoke for 1 hour, 25 minutes. So they consider that achievement. 1 hour, 25 minutes. It's not a long time. No. 1 hour, 25 minutes. Not a long time. All right. He said, what is it? These are the three. Relocating Palm Grove Cemetery will act to rehabilitate. Okay, all right, yeah. So let me stay in the area for the next few minutes. He said in his conclusion, this is how he concluded. First, I will ensure that we continue to comprehensively review our concession framework to correct historical inequities. Two, the extraction and management of our natural wealth and to ensure that Liberia and its people receive fair and lasting benefits. All right. Second, I would take immediate action to resolve the long-standing issue of relocating the Palm Grove Cemetery, where the remains of former presidents and other distinguished citizens lie. This is a matter of national honor, historical responsibility, and respect for those who serve our republic. Listen, yo, Bwaka was not saying anything new yet. They seen Palm Grove Cemetery when they did the reburial thing. They went to the massacre area, and they went to Palm Grove Cemetery. They say they're moving it from there. Even people joined them and say, yes, that's good initiative. So what happened since then? That NSP done a new announcement. No, it is the government weakness, inability. Put that one aside. He said, I will act to rehabilitate decaying public buildings. I will act to rehabilitate decaying public buildings in Monrovia and across the country, restoring dignity to public service and safeguarding national access for future generations. The people avoided the meeting. They just thought on some things and put it there to make fun of Bwaka. You know what the man said? What they told him to say? That the ratting building there, let me say it that way. I'm using the word damage, so you understand it go. The ratting, because that's what the word they put in his speech. They said decaying. When something decaying, what I mean it getting rotting. What we can call ratting. I should be using the word damage. That's the appropriate word for building, for structure. But the put decaying, decay. When something is decaying, it's getting rotting. When the person ceases from being human to dead, when they put you in a grave, less than no time, it start getting rotting. Yeah? The same with animals and any other thing. So I would act to rehabilitate decaying public buildings. Meaning all the buildings that are rotting in Monrovia, the one Bwaka say, the building that are rotting in Monrovia, he will rehabilitate or he will renovate. He will make new all of those buildings. Yeah. I will act to rehabilitate. I will act to rehabilitate decaying public buildings in Monrovia and across the country. Everywhere, all the rotting building, all the building, abandoned building, everywhere. Bwaka say he will take responsibility to face all. So we get the country, it face in the city, all the rotting building there, everywhere. He will face it. Then he said, what's the reason? He said, restoring dignity. That's the reason he gave her. Restoring dignity to public service and safeguarding national access for future generation. Oh, so the one right there, the ones at GSC, the government building, Bwaka say he will rehabilitate that one. That's what it means. EJ Raw, the government building, even though it's for political party, but he said those things, they are assets, they are national assets. Being over there like that, it does not give the country the kind of facelift it needs. EJ Raw building, that South Central Bank, all of those ones there, the other one around, you say, where the money coming from? You not get it. The petty thing that you do to take the people from out of poverty, you can. Then that building you go into, but sorry, man. Sorry to say, you don't get vexed, but actually, if you know how people design puppet, that's it. Honestly, no disrespect to the president, but rather those people who the speech writers, they did not help the man at all. They did not need to give him all those things to write. It could just be a summary. People wouldn't have problem. They wouldn't condemn it. Listen to President Bwaka This is the tear. Listen to the first and the second. The condemnation or the criticisms weren't many and strong and aggressive as this one from the people. But first day of the nation address, people just they critique less. There was not much of a criticism. The second, this one, go to President Bouakai first State of the Nation address. This is the tear. Go to the second. Just follow the reactions. This is the state, the tear. This State of the Nation address. No, the one part you say in laboratory, you can say you put on yourself. Bouakai wasted bad way. They told him, oh, just go read the thing, Mr. President. All kind of things they put there. Yeah. So those buildings then, when you see people coming there to start renovating, that's what the president said. Then he talked about reconciliation, which was just a lip service. He didn't mean it. He said, a nation that refuses to reconcile, hinders its own progress. Listen to President Bouakai. Listen to the president of this country, a Christian president. Fine words. Good. Yes, that's true. That's true. He's 100% right. I will even add 400 there to say 500%. The president is 500% right. A nation that refuses to reconcile hinders its own progress. So here is the question to Mr. President. How can a nation refuse to reconcile? A nation is always willing to reconcile. It is only when the leader who has the responsibility to move with reconciliation refuses. And that's what you have seen of President Bouakai over the time. So it is hindering the progress of the country. The country is divided. The country is divided. You on your side, we on our side. Then he said, and remains bound. When the country can reconcile, or the country refuses to reconcile, it hinders progress and it remains bound to the weight of its past. So the country is still experiencing a past. He admitting. He was not saying anything new. He was just beating around the bush. Then he said, as such, reconciliation is essential for our nation's progress. How many times he used progress? 2 times. Essential for our nation's progress, enabling healing and growth for future generation. The another thing he did over there, when he was delivering, when he came to this power, I was wondering, this president knows what he's saying or what he's reading? Does he really understand what reconciliation is? The first reconciliation is forgiveness, is letting go, not reconciliation of justice, not reconciliation of judgment, because that's what meant most people put it on. That is not the kind of reconciliation. It's not reconciliation, they can say reconciliation with all justice. That's not the kind of reconciliation that this country needs. When you use the word healing, you mean purging, ridding yourself first of hate, grudge, malice, and making sure that the rest of the people do it. When they do, and everybody is reconciled, and everybody together, then God's blessing is on the country. And that's what those people who, the pastors and bishops and the apostles of all kinds that went over there at that national prayer breakfast, they should have told Mr. President, or even tell Mr. President and his people before they even enter, quote unquote, the presence of God. And I know that was not the presence of God. I'm not being judgmental, but I am speaking the reality biblically. That's how it works. The first reconciliation, God said, purge your heart. You have a president who does not speak to people. You have a president who cut off anything relation with his predecessor. You have a president who don't even want to have anything to do with a predecessor around him. Yet you have a president who goes to church. You have his people who, his ministers and other people, they go to church and they call the name of God. And the God that we serve is the God of reconciliation. He said, leave your gift at the door. Leave your gift at the altar. Go and reconcile. He did not say go and exact justice. He said go and reconcile with your brother. Then you can come and offer your gift, because that is the condition for accepting your worship. Mr. President just sounded rhetorical. He was just being rhetorical. He was just being rhetorical. He has never been serious. You call this thing reconciliation? He said, my administration has taken meaningful steps, including implementing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommendations. Last year, we reburied former presidents William R. Talbot Jr., Samuel Kanye Doe Sr. with dignity and respect. Is that a reconciliation? Okay. Oh, for God in heaven's sake. Amen. You reconcile normal being. You say you normal. You reconcile with their body. Their body. You leave the living body. And what did God say when you focus on their body? That God himself curses you. God himself inflicts pains and judgment on that country. That. Because the man said, and he told the people, all of them running, oh, I want to do the other one. He said, come on. The dead is already the dead. Nothing about the dead is remember. Leave and then move on. How can you reconcile with a dead? God said reconcile with the living. That way you will have my blessing and protection over your country called Liberia. You people are keeping grudge for each other, yet you go to church. And you say you're worshiping me. The same thing the man said in Matthew. Said these people worship me with their lips, but their heart far. Matthew 15. That's the typical reality in Liberia. Worship God with lip. Oh, Liberia, a Christian country. Oh, Liberia, a Christian. Oh. I'm not blaming any pastor on this one. But if you are a Christian pastor and listening to President Joseph Yuma Boakai say this, you have to ask God to really speak to him. Yesterday, when we are delivered his State of the Nation address, and he talked about reconciliation, what did you hear these people say in opposition? Take the lead. Take the lead. And truly, we are took the lead. We are organized reconciliatory gatherings. Unity Party in power today, from opposition yesterday, can deny it. They know they can speak to events reconciliatorily that we are called the opposition. In Mr. President's statement, Mr. President is telling the opposition that you come and reconcile with me. In Mr. President's statement, he's telling the opposition, you come and reconcile with me. Where is it? He said, you come. We call on the opposition to reconcile. No, you don't call on the opposition. You take the initiative. As a matter of biblical reality, since we are Christians, what did God say? The person who is hurt, the person who is hurt, you go and reconcile. In this case, Joseph Yuma Boakai is the hurt character. He is the one who, whatever the reason, he has something in his heart against George Weah. God say the person who is hurt, it is that person who should go and say sorry. If I'm lying, you ask the theologians and philosophers, the people who are in the Bible to the deaf, you ask them. They will tell you the same thing. That's what the man said. That's why he said, leave your gift at the altar. Go outside with your hurt. Purge yourself. And this is how you do. Go to the person who hurt you and say sorry. Since you are the hurt one, that's how you purge yourself. And that's what reconciliation is by God's standard. In this situation, in this case, in this context, Bouaka is the hurt person. That's the reason why he kept from George Weah. He told the people nothing about George Weah should ever come around him. Nothing of the name George Weah should ever, the name George Weah should never appear on any of his Unity Party government paper. Because he hurt. He took the decision. And you hear every day, you hear this expression from his people, we have messed the country up. We have messed the country up. They are telling you that we are hurt because, in our opinion, he messed the country up, so we're having grudge. We keep grudge for him. God said now, if you say that he said, well, it hinders the country, lack of reconciliation hinders the country, then you go now and purge yourself of the hurt by going to the person. Let's assume, and that is not a reality, do not take it as reality just for discussion's sake. Let's assume we are hurting him. It comes back to the same thing. God said it is not weird that you come to you. You go. You go. That is why most people in our culture and in our churches, they don't like to talk. They don't like to talk about reconciliation because that is the hard part of reconciliation. In most instances, God allows you to do as the hurt person. And there are people can say, well, how possible is that? The man hurt me. Then I should go to reconcile with him. If you are a Christian, you have to do it because that's what God said. If you truly believe God, if you truly his follower as Christian, if you truly his disciple, that's what he said. Joseph Nyeoma Bouaka, our president, is the hurt character in this situation. So God said, since you are the hurt character, go to George Weah and reconcile with him. And let me now see, because I will be watching. Let me see whether George Weah will say he's not reconciling with you. Then the burden shifts from you to George Weah. That's how it is. So God now will see George Weah as the problem person. That's the simple reconciliatory equation. He said, just do. Since the president ascended to the presidency, he has never, and he doesn't want to. Look how Senator Yombli Kanga Lawrence pro tem made fun of herself. If I were her, no disrespect to her, but if I were close to her and she just say, I'm going to say this, I would have told her, madam, don't say it, leave it. It is not for you to say. It is for the president himself to say. He is the leader. He is the head. When she said, next year, the 27th National Prayer Breakfast Service, former President George Weah will be included, a sign of reconciliation and unity. She made fun of herself. The very president, the president called that national fast and prayer, not only for God's protection, but that God's spirit will enter, that everybody will let go everything. So when you finish with that one, you hear all of the things the pastor then say, the bishop, everybody you go talk now, you say, from today, whatever may have happened, I hereby declare a reconciliatory gathering with my predecessor, former President George Weah, moving to his house. You're going to see the shift in atmosphere. I bet you, except St. Andrews is not a Christian. I don't see it in the Bible. Joseph Boakai do that. You see a shift in the atmosphere. You see the cloud will change. You think that disaster coming. That's how God can move. But once the grudge is still there, forget it. One hear Yombly saying that thing. So I say, madam, no, madam, you should not have. Why it is true that you are a Christian, you are embarrassed by that, but you are not the one to say that Joseph Boakai should have said that, not you, madam. Not you. Yeah. So what the president said, reconciliation, no. That's not reconciliation. The country isn't reconciled. The country is still divided. He knows that very well. The country is still divided to the core. It's Unity Party versus CDC. CDC versus Unity Party. Yeah. So, really, it was embarrassing. She embarrassed herself. But I can understand she is a Christian. She didn't feel comfortable over there.
Works for our country. And as we're here, we want to thank our reverends, bishops for this prayer service. And as we continue this as an annual program, we pray that the next time we're here, we have all of our leaders seated here, including former President George Weah. To show a sign of unity and reconciliation for this prayer service. And as we continue this as an annual program, we pray that the next time we're here, we have all of our leaders seated here, including former President George Weah. To show a sign of unity and reconciliation and peace. And when that is done, it will lighten the way further for our country. Thank you.
So here is it. Let me use Akara's great word description when he was in government. He said, Mageda, they had a president here, meaning they had access. So, Yombly Kanga Lawrence, pro tem, has President Joseph Boakai here, together with all of the people that are around, including his religious advisors. You, immediately after the program, what will come to your mind as a discerning person, as a spiritual person? Mr. President, put it in your speech. I know it hurts, it pains, but you have to let go of whatever may happen. I don't know what happened between the two of you, but the nation can progress. We cannot have this national prayer service in the name of God, yet we are opposed to each other. Please tell your speech writers to put that in your speech. You think when they say decision making, they say you are leader. You think that's small thing, eh? They're not joke. When they say leader swallowing bitter pills, you have that expression, leader swallow bitter pills. Meaning, you don't want, but you have to do it because the condition requires that you do, if you must make progress, if you must advance, if they must see you as a leader. It's 5 o'clock. That's it. Let's turn to you. Let's turn to you to have your say. Dwight said, God has his own ways of doing things. Right, that's true. Jean Maboro put some sense in the head of the Baptist deacon. That's rising, what? Say the papi, where's it wasa? uh, yeah, you get it, man. Emmanuel Brose, don't mind those foolish Upates people. They are always making comical. Oh, the president is a hey, man. Don't do that. Yeah, is a but actually you can blame the security guy. If anybody will blame the security guy, then I don't know how you will try to wrap your head around that. President Boakai took off his hat and put it in front of him on the podium where his speech was. The podium is not wide like where I am sitting. I have too many things around me. I have space so I can take up anything and put it on the side. You see me flowing left, right. Small. When you put a paper there like this, this is a full rim on the side. You put it there, it takes so much space. So he put his speech there, or his speech was placed there, and he took off his cap, his hat, and put it down. So the security felt that giving the podium not that large or wide, it would be best to take off the hat so that he will have space to move the paper. That he did not understand. So the guy took it, and then he just looked at him like somebody who is vexed with a person who has done something. He said, give my hat. You don't know the son? Apparently, he forgot that the microphone, the small pin on his shirt. The same thing they did with him, the previous State of the Nation address, where the security guy came to him and said, drink water and tear the people. Every time you get something funny from Boakai address, yeah, those guys, man, hey, man, you start treating our president that way. You have a good organization. Listen, Sam Andrews, standing over there, if I place anything over there and the security came and took it, I wouldn't utter a word. I would just show a sign, meaning I will stretch my hand. That security will know that I need it. Because anything I will say over there, it will not be part of the address, but it will become something sensational for the media and the rest of the people who are there hearing. So I expected him to have just shown his hand to the guy, and the security would have known that he needed the cap or the hat to put on. But he said, bring my cap, man. Bring my hat. You don't know the son? Oh, hey, Prezoba. Yeah. Jerry Limek Pia, Kula Fofana, and all of you people who are the media people around our president, you take time. Yeah, you take time. You discuss all these things. If the man took out his cap or his hat and put it on before him, let it be there. Let it be there. The security too had no right, for whatever reason is best known to himself. I don't think he was wrong to do that. He thought, in my opinion, that given the size of the podium, not that why he wanted the president to have space, or that the president should be held by him, since he is the immediate security to the president. He too, he misunderstood that. Okay? Give my heart, man. You know the son, the son. How can president say that? Come on. How can president stoop so low in a colloquial language like that? Amen. Yeah. I see you, man, on this one. Let's go. Let's go. Let's take your call. It's 4 after 5. I'm not talking. I'm not doing anything. I talk sufficiently and convincingly. So it's up to you. Don't infringe on the right of your colleague. Don't infringe on the right of your colleague. That is, when you call, go straight to the point. Do not historicize. Do not explain long story. Cut your phone off before you call. In the next 25 minutes, I can take 1 million of you people, provided you will not stay onto the line to prevent your friend from calling. Let's do it that way. I'm not talking. It's you who doing the rest of the talking. Don't infringe on your friend's right. You call, you're talking long thing. I will not want to announce that I'm cutting you off. When you do that, I will just put you off and go to the next person. I want to take as many of you before I can leave in the next 25 minutes. So let's go. Yeah, let's go. 0772 23 99 33 0886 30 44 97 0777 98 0375. Hello. 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 You see the same thing I'm talking. Hanging on the line. Hello.
Yeah, I'm Ranju.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ranju, thank you, Ranju, I do it. Everybody doesn't go like this. Ranju, what you call swear bar. I can't say you little boy, what you say, educated, what you say about so swear, and what Java knows or get there. Not just getting out here. Ranju, I was in one of the president.
All right. Thank you. Hello. Hello?
Yeah, listen, Andrew.
Yeah.
This is what you're about to call for Jacob Ria.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hear you.
Andrew, thank you so much for what you have sent us yesterday. All the experience not doing yesterday. Our person, you put it all in front of yourself. Our people say, you all you put it in front of yourself. All the things you were explaining, that's so la. So they want to all the way to the end of the speech. Just pause. But we tell God, thank you so much. You're not even fool us. You all make us to know the differences of the government. You're getting the power with lie, and they still continue lying.
All right. Thank you.
So always let God bless you. Let God carry you through.
Amen. Hello. 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 Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, my say. That's it. You said the Mabaka. Your key. When you start taking all job, what they go to policy you. Because the whole warrior, anything you're taking all job here. What are you? Hello? Hello?
You on the line. You on the line. You on the air. I can be saying yeah.
I listen to you. That's why the president, the driver says all die. They don't know that you have to go there. So the whole world will be a lot of I want yeah, I'm not lying about go down. Go down. You won't pay. Then I won't take every day here.
Okay. Thank you.
You won't pay. We don't get nothing. What did you go?
All right. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Andrews.
Yep.
Yeah, please, this is from Stuart Ebenezer Weston Wisha, one of Liberia's legitimate owners that joined you from Central Virginia. You see, Mr. Andrews, what took place yesterday is only indicative of the fact that this president is indeed old. Like the late Prince Johnson said. All what the old man exhibited yesterday point to the fact that he has outlived his agility, his youthfulness, and whatever it is. Right now, the only thing we'll find from him will be those kind of like glitches that will kind of be embarrassing to us. Can you imagine? The president was even asking one of the protocol officers, should I tell the people to say that? And the woman had to be the one to tell you that. Yeah, they can say that and they tell the police to say that. What's that?
All right.
This thing we actually brought upon ourselves
is totally embarrassing. Frankly speaking, some of the things that we expect of him, actually, if he was young, he would have done that. But because he's old now, his memory is not there again, you will not find him functioning well.
All right,
the issue of reconciliation, anywhere many presidents want to do that.
Thank you.
But Waka is old. Waka has outlived.
Thank you very much. Mr. Andrews.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. Mr. Andrews, I'm Special Mohammed, and I call my purple corner down Coast Spoon Hill, Winter Community. Mr. Andrews, thank you very much. You see, Mr. Andrews, there's a way that God can punish people. Whenever you are obsessed with somebody, God will always have his own way of disgracing you. That's what happened to Jeremy Pierre. This man, he looked at President Weah to be the only project that he came to deliver on. I don't know why. Is it that he's trying to gain popularity at the expense of President Weah? But he's making mistakes. He continues to disgrace himself like how he disgracing himself. And the next thing has to do with the president sooner yesterday. Mr. Andrew, yesterday, for the president to go and stand before the Liberian people and say he provided 70,000 jobs in a year and get 198,000 people.
I mean, I'm talking about 70,000 jobs. The one I talk from the president sooner than when you talk. I finished with that everybody talk about that 70,000. I can be repetitious.
That's what we are making.
Thank you. Hello. Yeah, let's hear you. The people talk about the 70,000 job. I can't carry talk about it again. Yeah.
You spoke your TV. You spoke my mind. They should remain here. The entire United Party game. The entire game to pay issue on George Weah. That is clear. And to the issue, let me real. It's not his first time to be disgraced on podium. Can you imagine when he went to express the emphasis of Nigeria 3 years back? He even made
We are exporting Bouaka out, and Bouaka doesn't want to go out. His people don't want to go out. They've tasted power. They've seen money, real cash. They've traveled to some countries around the world. They have seen the beauty of the world. They have seen the happiness, the joy of power, how power is sweet. So they wouldn't want to leave it, but they will, no doubt. They will. No doubt. The president, actually, that was an embarrassing moment. Yes, it was an embarrassing moment for Mr. President. They gave a cap, gave a hat. Yeah. And the way he looked at the security guy, the guy too was scared. You know what it means for a president to look at you like that? Like you done something bad, something wrong. The president just look at the man like in a serious way. Hey, give him a hat. You know the son. So it means the president was experiencing heat. Again, it goes to the event planners. If the president, you can keep calling and just timing it for you. You can call 077-223-9933-0886-304497-0377-980-375. It was your time to take as many of you as I could, and then LEC with just 5 calls. LEC went. If the president was experiencing heat, and he was truly experiencing heat, again, he knows that he's not African wear, not good for him, or he's not lucky with African wear at events of such. We know that for a fact because he acknowledged, he said the heat. So he was using the cap to reduce the intensity, the intensity of the sun. So how did they build the podium that Mr. President was under the sun? Because he said the sun. So it's either the sun was hovering his head, or the sun was reflecting where he was, where his podium was. The sun was reflecting in that direction. Again, if the president will reference heat or the sun, then it means that he was not under a covering so strong to prevent the heat. And that could have been because, like we see in other places, the place is covered. The place is covered. But it looks that the position, the president podium, where the sun was coming in his direction. Because he said the heat. He said, you know the sun, and sun means heat. So he was feeling the heat. Prezo. He was feeling the heat. Okay. All right. We have to go to LECO. You're sorry. And now also the LEC left. And we switched to generator. LEC. You don't blame us. LEC people say they did not promise anybody, no institution in this country, no office, no radio station, no business center, nobody they promised stable electricity. The LECO, they say they didn't promise anybody stable electricity. When you have current for 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, be grateful. If you don't have it for an hour or 2 or 3, well, then cope with it. Find alternative. LEC said they're experiencing problem now, and they are import country. They are dependent. That's what they say in their statement. They are import dependent country, meaning they depend on other countries. The countries and they can supply. They are not on their own 100%. The hydro is not 100% to rely on. Rain season, it is filled. Then they can put out the apple, the auto, or can be. But once the water level drops, they can. So there will be rationing. This side get current for a certain time, the other side no current, just like that. So I manage it, yeah. That's the situation. I manage it. LEC, they were. So we went to our lay generator. And running a radio station on generator is very, very expensive. Very expensive to run a radio station on generator. Very, very expensive. So almost everybody goes to LEC. But LEC not stable. They're not stable at all. They're not stable. All right. So that's it, man. That's all the time we've got. That's all the time we've got to be with you. We're back tomorrow. Today is Monday. Tuesday. Yesterday was the State of the Nation address. Today is Tuesday. And I wanted to share something with you, but that will be tomorrow. Time is already off. You want to join the doctor himself, the man of the hour, the teacher of the land, the light of the land, the evangelist Anthony at Law Ebiwion Wave, Face the Issues at 8 this evening. Join us for that. AB is on at 8 this evening with Face the Issues. The news is on at 6. King's Newsroom. Join us for 8, please. At 8, Face the Issues. Before Face the Issues, King's Newsroom at 6. Until tomorrow, if God permits. Shalom.